guys, welcome back to UNG PSSA. We meet here every week at the same time. This week I have some announcements for us to start off with, which is something we've been implementing here at our meetings. But Tuesday, Tyler's not here, so I'll do it for him. Tuesday, April 14th, the College Democrats have their weekly meeting at 5:30 in Young Hall 112 downstairs. And then the College Republicans are meeting the same day at 6:30 down in Newton Oaks. Thursday, April 16th from 12:30 to 1:30, UNG's Nationally Competitive Scholarship Department is hosting a webinar to give an overview of Fulbright applications. Actually, it's on the, it'll come up on the screen and there's a QR code you guys can scan if you're interested. And then also they have the Zoom link available on their social media, UNG NCS on Instagram or elsewhere. And then Monday, April 20th in 203 across the hall here, we have a pre-law advising workshop with Dr. Grant. This one's going to be building top resumes and cover letters. I've been going to them, they're super helpful. What else? Tomorrow we have a game night. Very excited. We're going to be 4:30 in the great room, I believe. Let me double check. So that'll be fun. If you want to bring games, feel free to. But we will have games there already. I know we had a great time playing Uno with Dr. Tvali last semester, so hopefully he'll be able to stop by and play again. No promises. I believe that is all for our announcements. We're not doing the SGA attendance today, so don't worry about your email being written down. I'll let you talk about the attendance and then I'll introduce the topic.
Okay, yeah, as usual, if anybody has not been here before, we will pass around an attendance sheet in a few minutes. Put your name down, and if you put a faculty name down next to your name, we will contact that faculty member to verify your attendance. Hopefully you can get extra credit out of that. We can't guarantee anything, but we will have your name down here verifying your attendance. We will send that out. And one other thing unique to today is I was approached by the student newspaper, the UNG Vanguard, with questions that were directly related to our discussion today. And so I will point the reporter to our YouTube video to watch our discussion today. And who knows, hopefully some of you might get quoted in the UNG Vanguard.
I said I was going to get clips.
We'll see what that happens. Okay, so what's the topic today?
Okay, today's a bit of a smorgasbord of a topic, honestly. So we never, after the assassination of Charlie Kirk last September, we never really had like a topic or a day to address it. And since then, it feels like on social media, it's like it's like a new thing every single day. Like Drewski being the newest one. So I was just kind of wanting to talk about how that all has been playing out on social media, how it might impact midterm elections. Like I said, we never really addressed the assassination itself. Erica's been a hot topic. I do want to be clear though, when we talk about Turning Point, I don't mean like our local chapter here, because it's just not, we're talking about like the national one at like, Erica Kirk level. So I just want to be clear, we're not referring to specifically TPUSA at this campus. I know at the ICE protest last couple weeks ago now, they, both groups were there, Young Democrats and them, and everybody was very respectful and peaceful. So I want to keep that energy up because that's not really what this is about. We're just here to talk about it. So if anybody has any thoughts or any starting point, it's like where do you begin? Like Candace is talking about Egyptian planes, and like I'm still lost on that one. Go ahead.
I mean, I do want to say first that I think, like, in terms of the election, I feel like all the Democrats are finally coming in together, because I feel like they were kind of splitting up a little bit, like in the whole Biden election, and now I feel like all the Republicans now are very, very split up because of the Charlie Kirk thing. I don't think it's like fully the Charlie Kirk thing. I don't know, but I mean, I feel like there's a really big split and a divide between the Republicans on like which people are like, oh well, this is like Erica is like amazing and all this stuff, and just with Israel too and everything, and then just the others.
Yeah.
Just a very big split. I think that the Democrats are like really together, so I think that honestly they would win the election.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, personally, I see both parties as pretty disorganized at the moment. Maybe like the Republicans are a little, like, they have stability on their side with Trump having been in for so long. So I wonder if that plays into it. Like, obviously once Trump is gone, everybody says, well, what is the Republican Party gonna do? But we kind of talked about it in class. Cody would have been there if he didn't ever sleep.
This is crazy shit.
We talked about how a lot of like platforms sometimes on the left are not like really their own platforms. They're just kind of like anti-Trump platform. Like that is the platform. It's just I don't like Trump. I'm gonna stand up to him. Like the mayor of Atlanta that's running for governor of Georgia. Tyler can talk more about that when he decides to come back. But yeah, I don't know if we're just so polarized to a point where like none of the parties are organized. Like that's how it's starting to feel to me. It's like everybody's in a bit of a disarray, and like everybody hates the other side so much, but they can't even come together on their own. So it's really confusing.
I think part of the problem is that like everybody wants to play the attention game. Like, what can I do to get the attention? Like you brought up like the Drewski skit. Like recently, like he's not really necessarily like a super political figure, but obviously that was a political sketch. And in return, Trump's golden boy Jake Paul was saying that he was going to do blackface now. Which we'll see if he actually does it. He could have just been saying stuff. But it does lead to this like idea of it feels like everybody's one-upping each other without actually like thinking about what are we doing here. What does this represent? What do we even feel that we're trying to push as a policy or like anything? Like you were saying, like a lot of times on the left it just feels anti-Trump. Like it feels like they're not standing for anything for real. But in the same thing as the right, like I feel like not so much lately, but I feel like especially like earlier like right-wing like internet side, it felt like just like anti-SJW kind of stuff, like we hate the social justice warriors, you know, anti-woke kind of stuff, and it's just anti this, anti that, not pro anything.
Yeah, or like again, I'll let Tyler talk about it if he wants. What was it? Was it you were just kind of saying that the points were all the same, like you were handing out.
Oh yeah,
cards.
so I work on a political campaign as their volunteer coordinator, and this past Saturday we did canvassing. We did a canvas launch, and from multiple people during that canvas launch, they told me that the talking points were all the same, like from the Democrats and the Republicans. It was all affordability, you know, school, like school support, traffic. And they said we only had one point that was unique, which it was about healthcare, how is that the unique one? That's kind of crazy. And you're also seeing this in higher level elections, like the governor race in Georgia, for an example. Every single governor candidate, yes, they talk about, you know, affordability. They talk about maybe some stuff that might make them unique, but they also all talk about how they're going to stand up to Trump. Why are we doing that? That like the Democratic Party needs to get away from the rhetoric of standing up to Trump. And it's the same, in the same breath we could say that, but the opposite for the Republicans. Republicans need to get away from supporting Trump or seeking his endorsement by any means necessary. I think, you know, I mean, we're going to be lucky in 2028 and have an election that won't have Trump involved in it, but at the same time, I'm sure that there will still be Trump talking points from both sides. The Republicans will campaign on, I was Trump's strongest ally, or I supported Donald Trump, and the Democrats will probably call whatever candidate who gets picked by the Republicans a puppet for Trump. So I don't think we're going to get Trump out of our political rhetoric for a while, and it's unfortunate.
It's crazy that's might be our defining factor of our political like perceptions. You know what I mean? Like, who won?
I have thoughts. I think whoever really like will finally like break through the just like repetitive process, like the slop that we keep recycling. Whoever can like break through with like an actual message that like resonates with the people, like left or right, is going to be the person that's successful. People are going, like you said, like people are tired of hearing the same thing over and over again, but people also, like from a political side, people are afraid to like step out of the comfort zone and actually stand up for something. They pick the safe option because they're trying to get elected rather than actually like stand up for something that they believe in. And we see it on the social media side as well. It's recycled and it's exhausting. I think that's why there's like a lot of fatigue right now, is because it does feel like the same like fear monger every day from both sides, that like, hey, you have to be afraid about this, or this is the problem, and it's the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that, you know, in 2024, like Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party were campaigning on, if Trump wins, it's the end of democracy. And that is just blatant fear mongering. And the Republicans did it too, and it was kind of the same rhetoric, just said in a different way, saying that Harris, you know, doesn't have the experience or whatever to be president. It's the same thing, like people saying if Harris won, their children would be sent to war, and then Democrats saying if Trump wins, it's the end of democracy. If the parties keep campaigning on those far extremes, we're never going to get out of that rhetoric. And it helps with social media engagement too. Like, instantly going to the extremes is going to get people riled up. Embracing conspiracy theories is going to get people riled up. Like, that's just that. And Donald Trump used it perfectly in 2024 to get a ton of the young vote, a young white man vote. And I think that even though Harris and their campaign were using social media, I think it was almost like trying to relate but falling short kind of way. Like it was kind of out of touch, but like in the opposite. Like they didn't. It's just like parodying like what we like on the internet. It was weird.
Yeah, like I didn't understand how Brat could just go. It's a classic.
Yeah, I don't.
She's British.
Yeah, I don't know.
What?
The buttons were cool though.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, I had to use that. So I think that, back to what Tyler was saying, that every election is both parties are going to try to rile up the base and say that this is the most important election of our lifetimes, and the other party is going to destroy the country and the planet. But I also wanted to get back to media and partisan media. I think that after the death of Charlie Kirk, you're seeing I was trying to look at who would be the mainstream partisan conservative activists online, and right now I'm thinking it would be Tucker Carlson, because he has like denied anti-Semitism, but why he's still like taking all the popular positions of being anti-Israel and still being a conservative figure.
I think that there's always going to be a power vacuum. Like, nobody's going to be the next Kirk.
No.
Nobody's going to replace him. And people have tried. Like, they sent out, like, Steven Crowder made a comeback for a little bit there, which, that guy sucks. And, like, you see a bunch of other, like, conservative influencers that are not well known. Not a lot of people know them, but they went on college campuses to try to, like, be the next Charlie Kirk and fill that power vacuum. But I don't think that people are going to be able to do what he did, not necessarily because he did something unique, but because now he's kind of a right-wing martyr, and people almost don't want to fill that vacuum.
I would just kind of, I don't know, I would say his case really was unique, and especially looking now at how some of his takes have aged, specifically with like Israel.
Iran. He said something about Iran.
Yeah. Middle East in general. Like, I think he was, I don't know, call me crazy, I don't really care. He was just, like, too intelligent for his time, for right now. Like, I don't think that anybody, like you said, is going to be able to replace him. And say what you want, you know, of course he has the petty debates that garner the attention online and is the quick hit, quick fix, whatever you want to call it. But it's not like this guy didn't do his research or that he wasn't extremely well versed in what he talked about.
Yeah.
So that for that reason, yeah, I don't think we're
I mean,
gonna
I'm
see
not.
a replacement anytime
I wasn't
soon.
gonna. I'm not criticizing him intellectually. I mean, I wasn't really even criticizing him. I just think. I think with what he did and going on to those college campuses and doing like getting the engagement for like from younger people, whether it was negative or positive engagement, like people are just not going to be able to do that the same way. Like nobody is going to be able to go on to college campuses and get the crowds that he got. I mean,
Do you think part of that, like you were saying, is like literally how it ended? That like nobody's going to want to go have those takes out loud on a campus for the reasons of what happened to him?
maybe, but
Nobody has the sauce like he
nobody has like the charisma that he had either when it comes to like the college campuses. But also, if you asked me that question right after it happened, I would tell you that people don't care and people are going to go on these college campuses no matter what, because everybody was so gung-ho after he died, and everybody was like, everybody was like, you know, we're gonna honor Charlie Kirk's memory and we're gonna keep doing what he was doing. And now like that rhetoric has kind of died down a little bit when it comes to him, and there's nobody that's filled that gap yet.
I think the issue with like we've seen is like lack of charisma, like you were talking about, like Steven Crowder, and they're just not nearly as charismatic as a figure like Charlie Kirk. Same thing with Donald Trump, and I'm even going to bring up Obama. Those three all are extremely charismatic and were able to position themselves very well. I think, I mean, Trump was new with his kind of style of, I almost want to say fear. Like he was able to like really rile up people and something to fight for, in the same way that Obama was able to rile up people for hope and for change. And I think if we need, like, I think it's just gonna, like, you know, it's the pendulum. If we're going to like see like this cycle change from like this fear and constant like hatred, I think it would have to take like, and it doesn't even matter the party, it would have to take this Obama style, like, we're doing this for hope, we're doing this for the future.
I don't know. I think that they tried that.
With who though?
They did that with Biden.
And it worked.
And it worked, yeah. But then they tried again with Harris, but just a different message, and it did not work.
Yeah, but you could also argue that was like extenuating circumstances.
I think it's just always going to be the timing of it.
Yeah, I mean, but timing is everything. I mean, like coming into 2028, like the same like Trump verbiage is not going to work. Like the Trump, it was still Trump like in 2020 and 2024, but the way he talked and like the way he approached certain subjects were way different than 2016. Like we were looking at the 2016 debate, and the way he talked was just extremely different. And I think it is a matter of like keeping up with the times and like what is the meta, like is lame as that is to say, like what is going to work.
I'll be honest. I don't think we can replicate Trump or Kirk for two reasons. First, I feel like the reason Trump gained such a platform was because his campaign was so novel. Like the idea of a businessman turning to politics, just honestly pretty much out of nowhere. And second, I feel like after all the stuff that's been going with like Iran and ICE, people are really starting to back down from their support for Trump. Heck, a lot of people are regretting their vote. Even my extremely conservative mother, I was talking to her the other day and she said, yeah, I don't like a lot of the things that he's been saying lately. So.
Yeah, and I'll go off of kind of what Cody was saying. Cody and I and Ryan the other night were being nerds. I mean, just being nerds. And we watched like a few different debates. And we watched one of the
Kirk ones.
we watched the Kirk Jubilee debate, which for those of you who do not know about like the format of that debate, he sits in the middle and there's a bunch of liberals around him, and they like rush to the chair and they debate him on whatever topic he brings up. And it's another thing about Charlie Kirk is like his debate style. Love him or hate him, agree with him or disagree with him, he was good. he was good. And it's not even crazy to say that. Like he was very good. And like some of the yeah, that's true as well. And I believe one of us mentioned that when we were watching the debate, because we were kind of shocked because we've seen, the opposite of that.
Charlie Kirk disrespect moments or whatever on the internet.
Yeah, so
I think that was part of what makes him such a good debater, though, is that like he felt like human and was like, okay, this is a real person that we're talking to, and he's just like he's beating me in the points rather than what a lot of people don't like about like say Trump is that like it feels like more personal attacks or that he's kind of going after you rather than like an ideological debate, which is why like Kirk was like honestly like
but that worked
really
for
good.
Trump.
I mean,
In
it works
2016, that worked.
But like that, like Kirk was like a really good step in the right direction for the Republicans, like post Trump, and then like where now?
Yeah.
I think my favorite thing that Charlie had to consistently debunk throughout his time doing what he did for mostly on college campuses was the argument of like, well, you're just going to argue like college-age kids. And I hated that argument so bad because are these not the kids that were the future of politics, for one, period. For two, we tend to be the age group that is the most involved, that is the most radical, that cares the most, that has the time and ability to care the most.
That's also his demographic too.
Yeah.
Like that's why that argument doesn't really I can see it. I can see it, and I can because he really did not debate a ton of people that were like qualified or kind of did the same thing as him, but on the left. He did debate a lot of college students, and so I can see that argument, but also at the same time, that is what Turning Point USA is. That's his demographic, so that's of course who he's going to debate.
I think too part of it is how he actually had those conversations. Like a lot of them, he's getting to his point, and he's making it. He's like, and this isn't personal. This isn't against you as a person. Like you're a college student, you're learning, you're here trying to actually have a conversation about it. And I just think the way that openness was cut off so abruptly.
Yeah. Like,
I don't think it's played out how I expected it to, like we've been saying. Certainly not with Erica, oh my god. But it's not that the energy, like, behind it, like, the attention, the care is gone. I just feel like it went, like, it didn't just disappear, but I don't know where it went or what it's going to look like in the midterms, especially.
Yeah, I mean, and also, like, when you talk about social media and politics, especially on the right, you have to talk about Turning Point USA. Like, you just have to. Like, that is, again, their main demographic are people who are on social media and get their political takes from TikTok. I can't tell you the amount of times that I have talked to people and they'll say, oh yeah, I saw the TikTok about this, whatever. And they'll ask me my opinion, and I'm like, have you looked in anything else about this, or are you just watching TikToks? Like, that's also a problem with our generation is like, we're going to be on social media, and we're going to see our political takes on social media, and we're going to form our opinions from that rather than actually educating ourselves on those opinions. And another thing, too, about Charlie Kirk is he was respectful, but there were times where he would be on a college campus and it would be almost different to like, one of the Jubilee debates because there's a whole different like vibe there where, yeah, he's going to be respectful, but his supporters who are in the crowd listening to the debate are not going to be.
Sometimes like controlling his own crowd, for sure, which, I mean, when you're supporting like at that time, well, still is, but like a populist politician as like your main that like.
Yeah, you're gonna have that.
It
makes sense.
It leads to like the people he's arguing against getting riled up as well. It's just kind of.
But also, I think we should like bring back public booing. Like, I really think that when somebody says, like, when somebody chooses to go up to a microphone and they choose to say something stupid, I think you can get booed, and I think we should bring that back.
I don't think everybody that went up to the mic to debate Charlie Kirk knew what the fuck they were talking about, because they did not.
On you.
Like, if you're watching some of these debates, somebody will go up there and say just the most outrageous thing you've ever heard in your life, and you're just like, please, like, I promise you, not all liberals are like that, bro. We don't all think like that. Please get off the mic. Please get off the mic.
And I think the same applies though to, like, because TPUSA has become such a big part of the conservative movement. I personally, as someone who's conservative but not religious, I'm not the biggest fan of how quickly everybody gets jumbled in together, and obviously that happens on both sides, but religion especially is an interesting intersection. Like it makes me want to live out my dream of moving to France a little bit sooner rather than later.
Something.
Yeah.
I mean, but it is only natural though, because the like conservative ideology does like line up with like a lot of Christian ideologies. I mean, but that does go into like the issue of identity politics, and that is like a problem with like social media right now, is that it is very identity politics. I mean, it always will be though, because of course like someone's like personal identity and what they feel and like represent will shape what their politics are. And I mean, that is like part of the issue with like keeping politics just politics, is that it's always more. Like these are like what people like really believe, and their core values are shaped by who they are as a person. So it's hard to like keep it not personal, and a lot of people get wrapped up in that. I think, like, to bring it back to Kirk, like I think he did a very good job at like keeping it very like policy, like it's not a personal thing. But there's a lot of people that like I almost want to say aren't as intelligent to be able to separate the two. That like, even though I'm attacking your policy and like what you feel here politically, that doesn't mean I'm attacking you as a person. But a lot of times it does get jumbled up.
Yeah, and I think some, like, just a really lame trend that's happening right now in politics is like the left is trying to do what Turning Point USA and what conservatives are doing. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen on TikTok, but there's the headquarters profile now, which used to be Kamala Harris headquarters.
And then they have like a big like build up to like dropping the account. And
Yeah.
then the thing was just a TikTok account.
Yes,
And it was
like it's
okay.
just a TikTok account, and they post political memes. Like they're just shit posting. Like that's all it is.
They're giving like White House.
And people are like,
on the other side.
oh my god, yeah. And people are also like, oh man, Democrats need a Joe Rogan. No, we don't. We don't need that. We like. There is no reason for us to embrace what they are doing, because it only works on the right.
Right.
It would not work on the left. We have to do something different.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, like, ideologically, we're different, so it would be, like, really stupid if we were like, hey, what if we just, like, dress Trump in blue? You know? Like, obviously, it's not going to work, because it's not going to appeal to the same sort of people. The TikToks, like, they're lame, they flop.
Yeah.
I think it's just really, like, pathetic that it feels like the left like isn't coming up with their own ideas, and they're just like trying to recycle what is successful for the right, and it's annoying.
Yeah, and we covered this in class last week, but like Democrats are making, you know, podcasts or whatever else we covered, but like they're coming off as so disingenuous. Like they're not genuine at all. They're not talking like normal people. And who's gonna watch that shit?
And that's like
Who's gonna listen to that?
the focus on issues that only affect a very small percentage of the population, like the tendency to focus on minorities. Yeah, it's gonna be harder on us to garner support in that same platform.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
especially from like centrists. If you're really going to try and go for the centrist,
Yeah.
the centrist voter in America is a white dude.
Yeah.
And ultimately, like a lot of times, what the Democratic Party tends to focus on are not the issues that the centrist voter, the median voter, will actually care about, but is really, really important to a lot of people in the base. And I think that's something that like the Republicans have like done a pretty good job on for the most part, like especially in this recent election, focusing on like affordability. And like even like Trump was kind of backing off the abortion issue just because it's like that's not what people really want to talk about or care about, especially like the centrist voters.
And that was kind of Kamala's big.
That was her big thing, and it didn't appeal to what people were actually dealing with. I think like you were saying, it's all about being genuine. It's all about being down to earth and like actually knowing what affects the people.
Yeah. And
Speaking of genuine and down to earth, just do we think that Eric? Like, I kind of want to do a poll. Do we think Erica is going to seriously, Kirk, not to be confused with Child Podcast, do we think Erica Kirk is actually going to implement herself into the political landscape in this following, maybe not upcoming election, but we'll say near future?
She's already trying.
Yeah, like I think she didn't. Is that whole thing with her and JD Vance real, like the website thing? Because Erica Kirk was on there.
That somebody reserved the
Yeah.
website name for like their ticket together. I
Yeah.
saw that, but that's obvious. I guess that's a little
hilarious.
conspiracy.
Yeah,
It's
but
really funny.
also like, isn't her like I don't think she's gonna get anywhere because nobody likes her. Like, not to be mean, but like literally nobody
She's
likes her.
scary.
Like, and
She is.
She's off-putting.
And honestly, I think Drewski looked better than her. You know, I really do.
that was hilarious.
It was.
Like, I think I think even Republicans thought that was funny. Like, I think
Some
everyone.
people did not.
No, there was
Some people thought
there
it
were
was
some
funny.
people online
Some
who
people
were
did
really
too.
angry about it.
Why? Seriously, stupid question. Because like I want a stupid answer, honestly.
There's no stupid.
Why is it okay for Drewski to change his race completely
Cody.
and act as? It's not the Erica Kirk of it that bothers me. It just seems like a very high double standard.
So like, yeah, I understand that because it is very like race play kind of deal with like it feels wrong.
Which was fine 10 years ago on YouTube, by the way. So
Yeah,
or, like, a little more.
I think the idea is
That
that
is a bit of a stretch.
I think the
What's
idea
that?
is that like
It was
blackface historically has been used to like put down black people. I mean, you look at like the cartoons and the shows back from the 1920s. Black people didn't have any rights, and they were like portrayed as like monkeys.
Oh, yes.
You know, charcoal face paint, where historically used to put down this whole minority group, where versus whiteface is. White people have always been like the majority and aren't like a marginalized
So
group.
because
they're
there's
not
no
oppressed.
lore behind white-faced, it's okay.
I think not necessarily just the lore, but also like the power dynamic is that like white people have kind of always been in charge in America. So it's like whiteface is more seen as like punching up, where blackface is more seen as like punching down.
That's a good explanation.
Yeah, it was a good.
I agree. Like, I think like in terms of like punching up, it kind of reminds me of like White Chicks, where it's like just you're making fun of like these girls that are like super rich and they use like daddy's money to do whatever they want in the Hamptons, and they're like crying about like
I
not
think,
getting a
though,
golden ring.
Where it like starts because we keep talking about how one side's doing it, so then the other side starts doing it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If it works, everybody keeps doing it.
Yeah.
How exactly are we expecting any dressing up of any races to come to an end if like it keeps happening? You know what I'm saying? Like assuming that, let's say, God forbid, that Jake Paul comes out with a
Hey, like I hope
freaking
he does it.
response. No,
Oh
I
my God,
pray
I
he
hope he
doesn't.
does it.
We
That
don't
would be
need
so
that right
crazy.
now.
I
I do
would
not
really
need
hope he
that
does.
this year, next year, the next
needs to do it.
ever.
I think.
Ruin your career.
I think, but here's the thing, like that's not the first time Drewski did something like that. Like he dressed
I
up
love
as
the
like
pastor
a
one.
hillbilly guy and went to NASCAR, which that one was funny. Like
And I had that thought the first time, and he did that too. I was like, why? Where's the response? Why is this
Yeah.
only ever one side? And I get it. I get the historical. I just don't know how anybody expects it to get better or to like slow down or
Yeah.
I
understand
think
each
that's a-
other if it just keeps happening.
I think that's a fair argument that like it does have to like it gets to a
Completely.
point where we have to like stop and like reevaluate.
Or we all have to get really cool and really fun all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like I don't
or
understand.
cancel culture has to change.
Yeah.
Touch your glasses and put down something.
But since we're talking about social media and politics, and nobody has brought him up yet, Gavin Newsom. I've got a few things to say about Mr. Newsom. So Gavin Newsom.
Your friend. Close
Yes,
personal friend.
yes, my close friend Gavin. I have met him. I have shook his hand. I have a picture with Gavin Newsom. Shout out, Gavin. So he is positioning himself to be the almost left Trump on social media. If you've seen his posts, he is trying to get the same energy or give off the same energy as Trump did on Twitter. Because now Trump is on Truth Social and he's just a schizomaniac on there. Like that, bro.
He's a politician all his life. He doesn't have like a similar background,
Right.
does he?
No, he does not. He's been a politician his whole life. I believe he was mayor of San Francisco. Yes. Look at me go. I know ball. He was mayor of San Francisco, and then he was lieutenant governor,
Yes.
and then he ran for governor. Yeah. And so anyway, so on social media, he's trying to be the Trump of the left. He is like trolling Trump, making fun of him, making fun of other Republicans. And it doesn't really land because he's not as like he's a politician. Like he's been a politician his whole life. His dad was a politician. Like I think. I don't know.
It was his uncle.
His uncle was a
His
politician.
uncle was a powerful businessman who funded a lot of his endeavors.
Yeah. So that's one thing about him. Another thing about him is that I went to an event where he was speaking in Atlanta. And during that event, he was talking about how he has dyslexia. And he tried to connect to the audience by saying, "Oh, I'm just like you guys. I got a low score on my SATs too."
Biden said, what was it? Black kids are just as smart
Yes.
or something as. Yeah.
And like there was an outrage. Like there were people on the right like making fun of him for saying that because you're in Atlanta. The room was predominantly black people, so people were like, "Dude, Gavin Newsom's kind of racist," right? Like people were saying that. And, you know, he came out and was like, "This is ridiculous, like they're turning my words, whatever." And that was that. We've moved on. But I think it's funny to see a politician like Gavin Newsom try to connect to people when you're the California governor. You are probably the furthest politician from connecting to normal Americans. And last point, he goes on podcasts with right-wing influencers or individuals. I believe he's done one with Ben Shapiro and... Was it Nick Fuentes or no?
No,
it was not Nick Fuentes.
He would have
It was somebody else. There was somebody else, and I thought it was crazy.
Charlie Kirk too.
No, it was Theo Von.
Was it Kirk?
Yeah, I think it was Kirk.
He did meet with Theo Von. as well.
Yeah, but Theo Von doesn't count.
Yeah, I was
He's
gonna
not.
say, can we not
It definitely
consider
So
Theo Von a
he went on podcasts, and you know Gavin Newsom will post about like being pro-trans, being whatever. Like he went on a podcast. Somebody pushed him on that, and he backed off. He's like, "Oh no, I actually like I do agree with you on whatever was said." Like so I think he's kind of positioning himself as like a flip-flopper.
He is.
And he's using social media, but he's not using it good. Like he's not using it well. He kind of sucks at it.
I mean, that's the whole idea is that like he's not. The problem with him is that he's not himself. He's not genuine. He's not anything. He's like you refer to him as he's trying to be the left Trump. That in itself is not going to be successful because people aren't going to vote for the left Trump. People want to vote for an individual. If people wanted to vote for Gavin Newsom, they're going to vote for Gavin Newsom, not whatever character he's putting on.
Yeah, we talked about this in class literally today, less than an hour ago, that imitators are not going to work. Once Trump is gone, both parties have to get away from this populist rhetoric about Donald Trump, or they are not going to win. If J.D. Vance tries to be another Donald Trump, they will not win.
Yeah.
If the Democratic Party doesn't get away from anti-Trump, anti-MAGA rhetoric, they will not win. And it's very simple. You have to get away from that. You have to start campaigning on the American people, and you have to start positioning yourself as like the Democrats used to be seen as the pro-work party. You have to go back to that. If you don't, you're just not going to win. Because in 2024, Harris's campaign was extremely out of touch. Extremely. All of those celebrities that endorsed her, like, we don't care if Beyonce is endorsing a political candidate. I don't care. I just want to be able to afford shit. Please. I don't want to live on the street. I don't care if Cardi B is performing at one of her rallies. I don't care if Kid Rock is supporting Donald Trump. I just don't care. And a lot of people agree with that rhetoric, but the Trump administration was smart and didn't get a shit ton of celebrity people to endorse them, but the Harris campaign did, and she came off as a lead.
Yeah. I mean, people are really tired of like, I guess this is kind of changing subject a little bit, but people are tired of like the social media slop as well. Yeah, but I'm saying this because like Gavin Newsom is like particularly bad. Like the Democrats page on Twitter is like known for this. Like people are obviously like, this is coming from a left-leaning perspective. People were like really, really upset with Trump and like everything that he's doing, and then the Democrat Party, instead of like feels like they're actually going and doing something, they're like posting a graphic on Twitter that's like Trump did this. Oh hell no, this sucks. You know, it's like that's not going to resonate with anyone.
Cory Booker filibuster.
Dude, it doesn't resonate with anyone because it feels like it does nothing, and it's like a pathetic like. it's a gimme. You know, it's not actually standing for anything or representing anything. And
Yeah, like we
it's
know what
upsetting.
he's doing is bad. What are you gonna do about
What
it?
are you doing about it? You're actually in the position to do something, and you're posting on social media about it.
Like, oh no, you posted a graphic.
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro. What are
Yeah.
we doing?
Wait, it'll come back. Oh, yeah, I think for me, because we study it all the time, right? So I think it gets a little, I don't know, maybe not fully, but like when we look at it so closely, I had to kind of like zoom out when the Super Bowl came around, because if you really think about it, isn't it? I know that like the halftime TVUSA halftime show wasn't as like popular as everyone expected it to even be or whatever, but I just thought it was crazy that such a big event in just like, we could say American history. I'd say it's every Super Bowl is like a pretty historic event. That it was so impacted by polarization in that sense with the show. Like, when you really think about it, that's just a little insane. Like, we can talk about, like how it'll impact the midterm. Okay, yes, we expect politics to impact the midterms. I don't expect or want, I don't think anybody expects or wants it to impact the literal halftime show, which for most people that are not actually football fans is all that they're turning the TV on for anyway. So I thought that was just kind of like sad, honestly. Like, it's kind of pathetic.
Yeah, I mean, like everything's become political at this point, and so it leads to like a lot of exhaustion. I mean, I'm obviously like I love this shit. Like, I'm so tapped in, but at points I'm tired of it. Like, I just want to enjoy my Bad Bunny. Like,
Yeah.
And obviously like because of the cultural moment we're at, everybody wants to take a stand for something. That's just the moment. Right?
I
like
think-
in the 1960s, like that was the moment. Like we're standing for something. Everybody has a position. I think people are getting exhausted and people want like, I guess like,
what's the end goal of that?
right.
though?
I mean, like you can make an argument that it's always been like this. And like obviously like it just feels like it, to an extent like right now is like feels so important. But like I don't know. I miss Michael Jackson's America.
Yeah, so I think what happened with this year's Super Bowl and why it was so political are like a few different things. The NFL purposely chose Bad Bunny, 100%. That was on purpose. They chose him because of the rhetoric around immigrants in America and the fact that he was primarily speaking Spanish in his music.
Like all controversy or like all press is good press.
I guess, yeah, it was more of like a subtle but not so subtle way of them like saying that they're against what's going on with Trump. Let me finish. And another thing is like, I think the reason that they had a different Super Bowl halftime show for Republicans and for Turning Point USA was the fact that those people, not all of them, are racist. Like, they didn't want to hear a Spanish-speaking individual singing on their TV because, we live in America, they should be speaking English. That's literally one of the main reasons why it got people to watch it. And if you saw the sentiment around it on social media during the time, that's kind of what you would see. Is we live in America, he should be speaking Spanish, or he should be speaking English. People were saying that he wasn't American, guys. He's American.
He's Puerto Rican.
He's American. He's Puerto Rican. He's American. So it's just, it's not just racism, but it amplifies the anti-immigrant rhetoric, or anti-illegal immigrant rhetoric that the right is so gung-ho about right now, and that's partially the reason why they didn't want to. They wanted to try to compete with the Super Bowl halftime show. So stupid. Like, you're not gonna win that.
I mean, but like also like a big thing is like it's money. Like
Yeah.
politics have become like extremely profitable. Whether like however you engage with it, like the NFL wants to expand its audiences more globally. The U.S. market's like pretty tapped into. Like everybody knows about the NFL. Everybody who's going to watch NFL in America is already watching it. They want to expand into Latin America. You see the games in Mexico City and in Brazil. So of course they're going to try and take a statement that's pro-immigrant, pro-Hispanic, and so it's more going for profit rather than anything. And And I guess like if you really look into it, a lot of the times that is what it is. Like Turning Point USA, they saw this as an opportunity to capture engagement from people that didn't want to watch Bad Bunny. And it is all about attention and money rather than standing for something.
Though that Bad Bunny's was to take a stand. Like I think it's only fair to say whether we agree with the reasoning or not. The TPUSA was also doing it to take a stand for something they believe in, not just as like a money. Yes, it's a money grab.
Yeah.
Cool. But like, like so yeah.
I mean, the White didn't have the problem when Coldplay Obiano was singing the Super Bowl halftime show. So why did they make a big problem now?
Well, it wasn't as public of a problem. There were people who criticized the Rihanna halftime show. There were people who criticized the Eminem halftime show. There were people who criticized Kendrick. Sorry, especially Kendrick. It started with Kendrick Lamar's halftime show, and I always whenever I talk about Kendrick Lamar's halftime show, I always like to bring up like the picture of Trump looking down at the halftime show and Kendrick Lamar looking up, and they put it on top of each other so it looks like he's looking at Trump, and then they compare it to a picture of Katniss Everdeen looking at President Snow, and I always find that really funny. But no, I mean I think a lot of halftime shows have been inherently political, just not like super in your face political, but Kendrick Lamar's halftime show was.
Yeah.
And then going into Bad Bunny's halftime show, it definitely was. I mean, at the end of it, it was like if you guys watched it, like he shouted out every Latin American country he could, and then at the end of it, he said like "God bless USA" and like slammed down a football, which was fire. But
Shit was pretty cool.
shit was tough. It was tough. It was tough. So I don't know. I think more and more, it's always been this way. Politics has been in everything. You can connect anything to politics. Swear to God, give me enough time, I'll connect that table to politics. So I think everything is inherently political, and it's just some things are going to be more in your face about it than other things.
Agenda setting. That's part of what we're talking about here. Boy, I haven't spoken all the time.
I know. That was crazy. I forgot you were there.
In other words, I think the whole big thing about Bad Bunny was that immigration is a major topic. It's at the top of the agenda right now. It has not been during previous Super Bowls. And so other Super Bowl performers from other countries have not been big issues. But because immigration is a big issue right now, it's the whole divide.
I wonder though if, and like this is not to say that before Kendrick or this that there weren't other political halftime show moments. I'm sure there were. But I'm kind of like, once you take it that far and you make it that political, can you walk it back? Can you go back to what we could have called a more, I don't know, just not politics related show?
I think it would depend on what is happening in the country.
When celebrities speak out against something and then nobody ever leaves them alone about it
Yeah.
after, it's like you should have never said that.
Yeah, I think it would depend on, because again, people have been like boycotting the NFL since the NFL started putting the "say no to racism" on the helmets, or "say no to hate" at the end of the fields. Like, people have been boycotting the NFL for a long time, and I think it would just depend on what's going on in America at the time. Like next Super Bowl, it's still going to be probably semi-political. Maybe not as much, because they did get enough like hate for it that they might walk it back a little bit, but it's still going to be political. Maybe when there's like a Democratic president and everybody's all kumbaya and everybody's all like, oh, we're going to unify the country again, because I'm sure that will be the rhetoric when if there's a Democratic president next time, then maybe it would be less political. But I think since it's Donald Trump, and since it's, not to say it's, popular to hate him, because there are reasons to hate him, but I think since it's...
But it's also popular.
Yeah. So since it's that way right now, I think the NFL will continue with doing stuff like that.
Well, I mean, like, you even look at, like, I want to say, like, the birth of, like, the NFL halftime show, like, for real, was, like, Michael Jackson. That one was pretty political. It was talking about, like, world peace and, all the children of the world holding hands. But I think part of the issue now is that, like, some issues have become too political. Like, and maybe this is like a very left-leaning take of mine, but I think like immigration and like loving people, like his message shouldn't have been very political. Like you shouldn't be against his message. Like even if like you have an issue with like some issue like immigration policy, I think that the idea was that like, hey, we should all stand unified and like love each other and like, you know, we all are like trying to make it here in this life, in this world. That shouldn't be controversial. And the same thing with like when Michael Jackson back in the day, like as far as I'm aware, that wasn't a controversial take. Everybody was like, oh yeah, that sounds good to me.
It's getting harder and harder to do that because we're so divided now. In other words, you say go back in history, you go back to the Super Bowl halftimes in the 1960s and 70s, they were nothing. I mean, you know, they had Up With People singing during the halftime, which was just like nobody. And the Super Bowl, I think they realized they could win ratings and they could make more money with bigger stars and with more messages. But it's getting harder and harder to have that done without being controversial and divisive. There are very few, or there are fewer and fewer anyway, messages that will attract a lot of people without repelling a lot of people also.
Yeah, I think like Bad Bunny specifically, it could have not been seen as super political if the Turning Point USA halftime show didn't end up happening. Like there was because there was so many people criticizing the Bad Bunny choice and like, you know, criticizing the fact that he doesn't speak English. Turning Point USA, like we said, capitalized on it for not just money, but also for political optics. And
I think if what happened to Charlie didn't happen, that wouldn't have occurred either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of circumstances that made it to where a message that's simply just loving one another and treating everybody with kindness all around the world becomes so political to a point where they have to do a separate partisan halftime show. I did watch it though.
Okay, why don't you take us out? We'll just do that.
All right, thank you guys for entertaining my smorgasbord topic. That was fun. And thank you for keeping it respectful as always. We have game night tomorrow, 4:30, great room. Hogue, be there. I'm so excited. And I'll see you guys back here next week. And I hope you have a great day.
Yeah, we did it, guys.
Yeah. The Oscars. Yeah, remember?
Can't stop me from saying